Good morning. How are you, my loves? Okay, it is Saturday, May the 2nd. First off, today we are in an 11 day. So as you guys know with that, be aware that it really is kind of a smart move to protect your space. But to also know that things that you do want are going to be around you. So this is a time when you'll get the scent of your grandfather or your grandmother, or this is when you just have these kind of deja vu things. And it can be really kind of sweet like that. But because the 11 carries the polarity at a rate of 100%, you have just as much darkness comes in when the lightness comes in. So it's just, we always have to be very aware of the 11 days in protecting our own space. Like the moment we go into the day, kind of like if you know it's going to be raining outside on a certain day, you know to protect yourself from what is coming. Also knowing that it can be really beautiful to get rained on. So there's two sides to it all, but it will be important that you are being conscious of it. And the reason I always want to say that too is because if you really use the energies in the best way, you can set your intentions for these magical kind of things to come to you. Or you can set these intentions, and this one's even more powerful because what is to come are things that are showing you that like what was kept from your care and for the, the best building blocks of your life, what was kind of left empty is where you are to be getting something that in a way fills you up to now express as full in regards to that. And that's like in the same way that like someone who is an alcoholic then over years, then becomes a pioneer to help others and then wants to be whatever it's called when they help them personally, but a sponsor or something. But you have to walk this path and go through all the challenges of it to then kind of rise into this thing of, wow, this is what I want to give. Even like for me, my soul's purpose gift is to provide support and comfort to people. And everybody that I do meet, like they're always like, I don't know, like they just always tune into the love of me and the love that I can give and the love that I can give even like in a big crowd, like this thing that I naturally do and express. But I also came from not being valued and loved at all to the point that I was even like thinking about with my neck. I've always blamed my neck on being a forceps baby, but I saw this image of, I really had a mother who didn't even want to touch me. Like I was a baby and she absolutely did not want to lay her hands on me, didn't want to deal with me, didn't want anything to do with me. So I kind of know now that probably my neck damage is actually something from just a mother not caring, with a delicate baby. But from that crappy thing that I got that left me so completely empty, and that now in my life I really do feel like that was so unfair. I have different emotions on it. It's kind of like, what I realize about healing is it's very much like the stages of grief and how we go through we have acceptance usually in the beginning, and then we go through all these things. And with that, I really am so aware of, how unfair that babies have to have moms like that. When they're babies, when they're in their most perfected form right now, they're in their most beautiful, special, sacred things, and to like have nobody see that is the saddest thing in the world to me. Like that's so sad. But anyway, it's now in my life now where people are very aware of the love that I give to them and the love that I make them feel. And it's only something that now I can understand came from me walking this life of empty. So understand that with this 11-day right now, something is to come to you in regards to seeing what did leave you empty and how it is time to now kind of gain another perspective on how that now it's maybe time to go some next level and to be giving of this, to now start exhaling what you were forced to inhale through these really intense life experiences. But to be like these amazing coaches, or, even like one of the things with the 40-day fast, because a lot of the energy right now is really kind of getting us to focus on our soul's purpose works, but to also recognize that life changes, the world changes. We have to adapt around the changes, but with our lives, we are actually here to have several different ways that we express, and we only go to the new levels when we've walked enough life and experiences, and then we have to go through this let go process that is usually challenging because we're used to things being this way. We thought this was like, even with marriages and then divorce, you thought this was gonna last, but you got down the road and then you discovered there were these differences, or you were changing and going in different directions. So you have to adapt around that. And a lot of people are having things around what their soul's purpose, what they are to be giving around with their soul's purpose now. So we're really thinking about what feels most natural to me, what feels most, and one of the things I have told you from the get-go is that I've always been a pioneer, and I'm always going to be. But when things get oversaturated, I leave. And if you've maybe noticed in the past, even like this year, I have been so made aware of the oversaturation of my career that it has me not really thinking there's any place for me. And it has me hyper aware and looking out, feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't have a place in this career anymore. But I don't necessarily really feel that 100%. But what I'm really feeling is that I'm coming upon a time of change, which is always going to be happening because of me not being in mainstream worlds. I'm leading. I'm going to show where mainstream worlds are going is what actually happens. That's why I've been in astrology for so long, because I'm going to walk what you all are going to walk. I'm someone who didn't have kids. Now look at everybody walking it. I'm someone, the way I live, because I'm a Venus and Aquarius in the first house, in a mutual reception with Uranus in the ninth house, I am here to walk it before everybody else does. So anyway, I've been going through all these kind of changes, recognizing that I don't have a home in this place I did a few years ago, but also recognizing that I have these different passions that came around the 40-day fast that I never could have known I would have. And it was in 2012 when I first heard of Dr. Sebi, and I was like, oh my God, he is the one. This is the answer. This is the truth. Everything in my body said he knows about the truth. And he talked about the 40-day fast, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it one day. And it did take, 7 years for me to finally do it. But it has been such a completely life transformative thing that even when I was in it, I knew that this was a part of my new career. I knew that this is my thing. And I didn't even know what I meant by that, but I already knew, like, doing it or walking it or something, I already knew that this was my thing to do, and I'm going to be leading in the future around this thing that nobody has done. I mean, the number of people who've actually done it is minimal, because you think, who would do such a thing? And how could you not eat for 40 whole days? How could you not do that? And so I went in blind without any support and no research and no planning at all. It was a totally last minute spontaneous thing. And I'll be talking about it more soon. But everything around what I'm going to be sharing with you soon are things that light me up so incredibly much. so incredibly much. And that's what we are to recognize, that, you know, things are changing for us, but where we're to go is where things are really lighting us up, and where we maybe don't understand, or we don't understand how this could have fallen on our path, which is what I've said about every career move I've had. I had no idea I'd be doing this. I had no idea I'd be doing any of it. But each one of them, it was like I got evolved enough in this forward position in life that then this gate opened and it became this other thing. And I've known that happened, so I trust it. But we're all really having one right now. And you just need to know that, you know, where you're having these kind of heartstring feeling things is where right now it's really just about staying dedicated with them. As you release your addiction to timelines and thinking you should be this age and doing that, and, you know, but I need to make money now, you know, and what we don't realize is that, you know, money is still 100% energy. So saying those kind of things and making that your focus cuts you off from all these potentials that are other ways that could organically and naturally bring you income. And yeah, it's totally mysterious. There's nothing like a roadmap where you can get it right no matter what. But and know that this is going to work out the way you planned, but everything is orchestrated perfectly for you to really like surrender and trust into these paths that just feel so right, and they feel right now. And that is a really big point that we've been talking about. It's not so much about needing everything to be perfect for this future thing, but really being like, right now this feels good and I'm going to go do this. So often what's going to happen in life is that, you know, even what I had noticed every time I moved to a new place, every single time I was like destroyed for the first experience of it. And usually to the point where I was like, I'm out of here. I'm going to go back to where I just came from. You know, like every time I did a really big leap, it was always really hard and challenging. It did not go as I planned. But then it would always be then at the very last moment, or some kind of just out of the blue, it instantly flipped into the best thing ever, where it was like, oh my God, this is exactly where I need to be. So I also learned that from walking this, that for some reason, usually the very first steps of something tend to be things that trip us up and almost, you know, test us again to see, are you really dedicated to this? Do you really want to make this change with your life? Do you really want to put in the effort and the time, you know, to make this happen? And then you see how solid you really are. So kind of expect that to be playing out for you guys right now as we do get to these better places. But another part is also saying too that you may walk into something and then have this really challenging thing that alters your life to the point that you're like, how could you have done that? Even when I had the vision that my father was going to die, I left San Francisco and went back to St. Louis to get to know him, because I didn't know him since I was like 2. And I only saw him like once or twice a year. I called him Jim. And so I went back to get to know him. And I had a vision to do this. So I followed this spiritual vision. And it ended up destroying me. It ended up taking everything. It ended up like, it was an experience that I absolutely could not get over. How much it hurt me in so many ways, monetarily, every kind of way that there is. And it was so hard for me to get over it because I believed into this vision. And it wasn't until my dad actually did die in 2013 that 100%, that whole burden released, because I was like, oh my God, I am so glad I went back and got to know my dad. Like, I know my dad now, you know? And it took all those years for me to finally see that was the best decision ever. So we have to trust that too, that we just have to trust our journeys more and trust how our bodies are leading us and trust that this feels like this for a reason. Okay, you know what? I think we're going to end the week here now. I hope you've had a beautiful week and it's wildly transformative, and it looks like it's just going to keep continuing. This is some exciting magic going on now. Okay, I love you. I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.